It's 11:11, yo. Happy Friday. It's a little bit of a sluggish morning again for me. So I'm happy that it's 11:11. Gives me a good excuse to get moving. As usual, I invite you to join me if you feel like it, to whatever degree you feel like it. I like to remind you it doesn't take any special moves, any special equipment, any special space to give yourself a little love, give your body a little movement. Although I am lucky to have this Head Hutt Mega-Sculpture, which I built for myself, and I try to remind myself it is a special space. It's nice to create a little space for yourself. But even if you can't do that, you can create a little space for yourself in yourself. Maybe right here, or maybe right here. Try not to make it up in here too much. I'm going to just shake out some stiffness. Take some nice deep breaths. Let's do some shoulder shrugs to start. Shoulders up in the ears and then just releasing that. And breathing in, expanding the lungs. And then out. Letting that go. Jiggle it out a little bit. One more time. Breathing in, bringing the shoulders up into the ears and then just letting the arms swing. Letting all that go. I'm going to take a couple breaths and just bring my attention into the bottoms of my root myself into the center of the earth. Let's do a swan dive down with a relatively flat back, bending from the hips down toward the floor. Letting the arms just swing at the bottom. Maybe I have to take this off so I don't hood myself. I'm just going to let the spine unwind. Give that a breath or so to let gravity do the unwind. And then I'm going to bend the knees, swing the arms back, come on up into a bit of a counter stretch, pushing the hips forward. And then let's swan dive down again with a relatively flat back. Aiming the arms for the ground. Let's come over for a gentle twist toward the left. And a gentle twist toward the right. Back to center. I'm going to bend the knees again, swing the knees back. Coming into that counter stretch, pushing the hips forward. I'm going to bring the arms around back. Pulling elbows and shoulders towards each other, and then still making sure not to lock those knees. Coming down from the hips again. Actively pulling the chest with the arms, pulling shoulder blades towards each other, pulling elbows towards each other. And then I'm going to passively stretch, just keeping the hands gently clasped and letting gravity do the work in. And then actively pulling shoulder blades towards each other, pressing palms, pulling elbows towards each other. Active and passive, get more stretching that way. Double the stretch. Just releasing all that, keeping the hands gently clasped, letting gravity do the work passively, and then actively one more time, pulling shoulder blades together, pressing palms, pulling elbows towards each other, maybe drawing a line up and above myself, and then again passively letting gravity do the work. This time I'm going to bend the elbows, bring the hands down and give the tailbone a little checking, a little love, be a little patting. Come down the backs of the legs, checking in with everybody. How's the hamstrings? How's the backs of the knees? I got a hairy shirt from my cat loving session earlier. Coming down the backs of the calves, backs of the ankles. Still just releasing through the belly from the hips. I'm going to check in with the toes on the front side. Hey toes. Check in with the ankles. And rolling up slowly. Checking in with the shins. Checking in with the kneecaps. Checking in with the thighs. Checking in with the hips. Just giving the whole body a little check. And through the pelvis. Up through the torso. How's all the organs and the spine doing? Checking in with the chest and the shoulders. Smooth down the arms. Just reminding the body that I can let go of the tensions of this morning and last night and yesterday. Shake that off. I'm going to rub the hands together and do some face and head smoothing. I like to go up the face and down the back of the head, but you could try from the top of the face and down around the chin too. Both of those work. Just releasing the past like it was yesterday. Let's do a little hip sway since that rhymes. Just pressing into each hip a little bit, keeping it playful and light. I'm going to root the feet again, and this time do a little hip sliding one side to the other, trying to keep these hip bones parallel to the floor, getting a little more stretch through the back and through the torso, and then again tipping the hip or tipping the pelvis, pressing into the hip. Let's do one more time, sliding to the left and to the right, and to the left and to the right, and then tipping, pressing into the left, pressing into the right. You can bend that opposite leg if that helps. Sometimes it helps me. Take the weight off, and just kind of exploring range of motion in that hip socket. Again, listen to your own body, be respectful. Don't go popping no hips out the socket. Let's slide one more time because that feels good. In through the torso and the back. I'm going to bring the legs out to a little more of a straddle and do a little more tipping from that side. That brings a stretch into the inside of the legs for me. Just notice where it brings it for you. Let's do a forward fold with the legs a little wider in the straddle position. Again, bending from the hips, making sure not to lock the knees. Coming down toward the floor, and I'm going to bring both hands onto both legs. Use the arms and hands a little bit to help pull the body toward the back side of the legs, maybe glancing through the legs. And then bring the body up over, drape over that left side, using my hands for torque. Pulling forehead toward knee, and then chin toward toes, forehead toward knee, and chin toward toes. You get a little curl and flat back variety there. Let's come back to center, and then over toward the right side, draping the body over that right leg, and then pulling elbow toward knee, chin toward toes, elbow toward knee, and chin toward toes. One more time, am I saying elbow instead of forehead? And chin toward toes. Can't keep my body parts straight some mornings. Come back to center. Pulling the body toward the center of both legs. And then I'm going to roll up nice and slow. Just checking in with the spine. Jiggle that out a little bit. Let's do some big arm circles. Still just having the legs in a nice straddle position. If you wanted to add a little bit of strengthening, you could bend the knees, keeping those knees over the toes. Tip the tailbone, keeping the spine nice and long. Let's do some arm circles from that horse stance, as it's often called. As if you were riding a horse, you could go down nice and low if you're feeling stronger than I am this morning, but I'm just going to keep it nice and mellow. Some big arm circles and going the other way. Opening the chest on the way up, breathing in. And breathing out on the way down. Shake that out a little bit. I'm going to walk those feet back to under the shoulders, not the forehead. They're kind of under the forehead too. Let me go ahead and step back with that left leg into a moderate lunge, pulling that back hip forward, forward hip back, tipping the tailbone under, pressing that back heel toward the ground on either a parallel line, or you could go on a 45-degree line, whatever feels good to you. I'm going to straighten that front leg and bend over that leg for another forward fold, just letting the body kind of drape over that leg. I'm going to bend that knee, sliding that back toe out a little bit more. Bring my hands down on either side of that foot and bring that front foot back to meet the back foot. Pressing through the palms, through the arms, through the spine, tipping the tailbone toward the back of the head and pressing the heels toward the ground. Pressing the heart toward the center of the earth. I'm going to swing the body forward, pulling the chest through the elbows, dropping the abdomen and the butt, relaxing the abdomen, pulling the legs towards each other, and gazing up with the eyes for a nice stretch in the front of the body. And then lifting those hips, pressing back again through wide fingers, palms, through the arms, tipping the tailbone again toward the back of the head. And I'm going to step forward with that left foot into a nice deep lunge. Give that a little bounce before stepping forward with the back foot. Back into forward fold, just relaxing here for a breath or so. I'm going to bend the knees and swing the arms back again. Coming into that counter stretch, pushing the hips, bringing the eyes up. Coming back to center, shake that out. And then step back with the right foot into a moderate lunge. Pulling that back hip forward, forward hip, elbow under. Pressing that back heel into the ground. Either a parallel line or 45-degree. For a breath or so, and then I'm on that front leg and fold the body from the hip, draping the body over that leg, just letting that relax for a little. I'm going to come into a little bit of a deeper lunge, and then bringing weight onto my hands, bringing that front leg back to meet the back leg and pressing through the palms, up the arms, through the spine, tipping the tailbone toward the back of the head, pressing the heel toward the ground, right knee and pressing the side, bend the left side and press into the right side, and again pressing more into the left, pressing more into the right, pressing into both heels, pressing the heart toward the center of the earth. And again, swinging forward, bringing the chest through the shoulders, dropping the belly, bringing legs together, bringing eyes up, making sure not to sink in those shoulders. Relaxing the belly, getting a nice stretch through the low back. And then lifting the hips, pressing back again through the palms, up the spine, tipping the back of the tailbone toward the back of the head, pressing into the heels, and then swinging that right foot up into a deeper lunge. Give that a little bounce because I like it. And then stepping forward with the back foot. Just relaxing there. Jiggling out the neck a little bit. Letting the spine just unwind with gravity. Let's roll up again nice and slow. Stacking one vertebra on the next. Noticing if there's any difference from a few minutes ago. If we've got any more suppleness, I'm going to just do some gentle arm swinging. Elbow over right and right elbow over left. Try to clap the hands behind the body for a little extra brain challenge, if you're up for that sort of thing. That's about the extent I'm up for this morning. Clapping hands. Do some clap snaps in front for good measure while I'm at it. Still pretty stiff in the hands. I'm going to do a little circle with the foot on ankle, bringing left knee up toward left elbow, relaxing that supporting foot. Just to add a little small circle there. Could add some medium circle from the knee. And maybe some big circles from the hips. Could make big, medium, and small circles with whatever appeals to you. Could do with hands, maybe with arms, hands, and shoulders I tend to come up with, but maybe you come up with something else. I'm going to bring my weight onto the left, bring that right knee up toward right shoulder. These could also be done laying on the ground or the floor if you wanted. Do some small circles with the foot on ankle. Small circles the other way. And then how about some medium circles from the knee? Just checking in on the small, medium, and large circles today. How about not falling over if possible? And some big circles with the hips. That's why it can be a good idea to do these on the floor, because you can't fall off the floor. At least not very easily, in my experience. You got to really work at falling off the floor. Stomp that out a little bit. I'm going to come back down into a tent or triangle position, bending from the hip, walking these hands out in front. Walking those feet back and coming down into a plank. I'm going to do one slow push-up. Keeping hands under shoulders, keeping belly tucked in, keeping feet together, keeping elbows in close to the body. Coming down nice and slow. And hovering here for a breath or so. And then back up nice and slow. Pressing back into the hips, into the heels, tipping the tailbone. Let's walk those feet back up toward hands. Just letting the neck go a little more. I'm going to roll up nice and slow. I think I'm going to do just a little more gentle stretching of the neck. Just tilting the head over to the right side. Can add some hand weight if that feels helpful, and maybe a little smoothing. Dropping that left shoulder. Maybe alternate chin towards shoulder, ear towards shoulder, chin towards shoulder, and ear towards shoulder. I'm going to come around the top. Go chin toward opposite shoulder. I'm going to again add a little weight with the left, a little smoothing reminder to the right shoulder to drop. lower shoulder. Coming around the front. Let's do a couple just nice gentle side to side stretches through the front. And maybe some gentle side to side stretches through the back. Try not to let those shoulders come up into the ears like they seem to want to. Shake that out. Let's do some more shoulder stretching, nice and gentle. I'm going to use my right hand to just pull that left arm and then dropping that shoulder and kind of play with a variety of stretching through that shoulder blade, through that arm, and letting that go, bringing the right arm across body, hanging on to it with the left arm, and then again kind of just almost giving myself a nice little massage back there. Speaking of that, that makes me think a nice little self-hug is in order. I'm going to do that with a moderate forward fold from the waist as opposed to the hips now. So pulling back in the abdomen, up in the pelvic floor, bringing left elbow over right, curling the spine, and giving myself a nice hug, kind of a little massage more actively on the shoulders. Then releasing all that toward the floor again from the hips. And scooping myself up, bringing up for another hug, this time right elbow over left, pulling shoulder blades apart, pulling up in the pelvic floor, back in the abdomen, and tucking the chin a little bit for a curl in the spine. And give a little on those shoulders. One more time. Bar into forward fold. Just letting the head go. I'm going to add a little weight to the head for a little more unwinding of the spine. I'm going to bend the knees one more time, bringing arm back, pushing hips forward into that counter stretch, back bend subtly. Come back down into neutral. I think as usual I'm going to continue from here with a few more things, including my inversion. I hope that you remember to take care of your body, be kind to yourself. Gail, Paula, it's good to see you. Hi. Happy Friday to you. Remember to breathe and smile. Be loving to yourself. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll be seeing you. Peace.